You're listening to the Packernet Podcast Network.
US Cellular has noticed the way we use our phones has gotten ironic. We try to put our phones down for dinner, but the menu's on a QR code. That's ironic. We hit like on social posts that we don't actually like, which is ironic. Which is why US Cellular created Us Mode, to help us reconnect with each other and use our phones less ironically. A phone company wanting people to use their phones less is ironic. Let's find us again with Us Mode from US Cellular. Visit uscellular.com/built-for-us to get started.
Okay, so true story, I was scared to try tampons because I didn't know if they'd be able to protect like pads. Took me a few tries, but once inserted properly, tampons shouldn't hurt. If you feel it, it's not in far enough. Believe me, it changed my life. Like pads, tampons offer up to 100% leak-free protection, whether you're on the go or chilling at home. Now, I do and wear whatever I want on my period, thanks to the freedom and flexibility I get with adding Tampax to my routine. Learn more at Tampax.com.
All right, surprise, surprise, surprise. We got a little midday PTA action going on here as I'm joined alongside Jacob live in Wisconsin, Clayton here down in Tennessee. Obviously, we represent Packernet.com. You can find me on Twitter at Packers_access. You can email us, PackersTotalAccess@gmail.com. You can text us, 865-658-5824. Thought we'd jump in here and talk a little joint practice in real time. Before we dive right into the updates, which are already rolling in, let's go ahead and give a quick shout-out today. So we've got a special guest in here as we get ready to talk some camp updates. We got Tim, boots on the ground. So understand, we may not be able to hear Tim well. I don't know how loud it's going to be out there, but we're going to do our
look
best.
at him.
Look at him rocking the white away uni, my favorite uni. What's up, Tim?
What's up, boys? Can you hear me okay?
I hear you really well. That's good.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, you can kind of see practice going down behind me. It's tough to get a spot. It is a full house today, guys. Sounds good, though. A lot of energy from the crowd. I think the Packers are doing okay today.
Heck yeah, man. That's what I was hearing, listening to Wildy and Tausch. They were, I think they had Jason Wildy down there on the field, and the crowd was really, that's what Wildy said. They're really trying to get behind these guys. Sound like the second team might be performing a little bit better than the first team. We won't keep you too long, Tim. We don't want to ruin your practice experience, but what's the big takeaway so far today, man? They let the Ravens ride the bikes, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. There was a good crowd. There was some Ravens fans out here, but a lot of Packer fans, too, showing some love and respect. And, of course, taking an opportunity to meet guys like Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry. There's some elite NFL players and talent here, and as well as coaches and stuff. So a lot of respect between the fans and the players. And the Packer bike ride definitely had more people, though. We'll just put it that way. But yeah, you guys can see it's a packed house. If you get anybody local up here, you still got a little bit of time to get out here and check out some of the practice. But it's hard to get a spot. You might get lucky, and if someone leaves early, that's about it. It is packed.
Good stuff, dude. Well, we appreciate you checking in, Tim. Feel free to hop back on at any moment. Go enjoy it. And like I said, if we're still live, just jump in at any point, all right?
Absolutely, guys. I'm going to go grab some lunch. I'll talk to you later.
Get them cheese curds, man.
Get them cheese curds. You know it.
That's right.
Cheese curds make my stomach hurt all the time, but I do eat them, though.
All right, Jacob, let's jump into it here, man.
That was really clear just for, in the future. It'd be nice to know that we can have Tim jump on and we can actually hear him and see him. That's cool.
Dude, Tim doesn't half-ass anything, man. I'm just telling you right now. If something doesn't go as planned, Tim's one of those dudes like you could tell it eats at him. I love it. Just striving for perfection. But Jacob, as we get ready to dive into some of these updates, man, what are you expecting? Not expecting. What are you hoping happens today? What are you hoping to see from the Packers? The reality is, people are going to overreact. We're going to overreact on this show right now. You're going to overreact. I'm going to. I'm sure people in the chat are. What are you kind of hoping you see here with practice today, man?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, first off, let's start with the 10-minute kicker segment. No, I'm kidding. It sounds like I was, trying to keep an eye on how things were shaping up until this point. It looks like we maybe are off to a semi-slow start again, as far as the team drills and all that sort of stuff. But I just want to stay healthy. We're going into, obviously, the start of the season, and it's going to be, is it Tuesday, the roster cuts downs? Is that correct?
27th. Yeah, I believe that's right.
Right. So, there's guys that not maybe, that are definitely going to be having a fight for their careers. They're going to probably have them decided on the field today, and then last chance would be obviously at noon on the last time that they kick off there before the start of the regular season. So I want them to stay healthy, but I need some of those bubble guys to really show why they deserve to be on this team versus some of the other ones, because I think obviously we know our main starters, and then that second team gets a little weaker, and then there's a lot of spaces like TBD in that second and third string. And we've seen that we really need some depth. And I don't know, I'm starting to get a little nervous because I don't know. It seems like all of our highlights and really our positive stuff is when we're going against our own guys. And then the second that we start going against some real competition, it seems like we get a little sputtery, but that's to be expected, I'm sure. So,
yeah, that's a good point, man. And it's always kind of give and take, man. I go extremely high, extremely low the whole practice. But right here, Ryan Wood tweeted this video out. It says, Lamar Jackson taking the bike to practice, slapping high fives. And damn, if that wasn't a close call. Look at him about spill it out. You know the Baltimore Ravens just love seeing that, right?
I was going to say I was going to ask Tim if he got to see that firsthand, and then somebody else quote tweeted Ryan Wood, and we're like, the Packers were this close to never having anyone ride their bikes ever again. Because imagine if he face plants, or God forbid, look, he almost recorrects it and he almost runs into that kid wearing the Jones jersey. If he were to take that kid out, I could only imagine what the legal and all that stuff would sound like. But watch him right here. It's like, oh no, kid.
We got a bunch of people already tuning in, and this was a surprise show. Obviously, we plan on going live tonight. We still are. It's just got off work early, was able to hop in here, so it worked out good. I want to give a shout out to everybody in the chat. Appreciate y'all hanging out with us this afternoon. And if you would hit that like button here on YouTube, feel free to share the stream on X, on Rumble, on YouTube, and let's get those views up. We appreciate y'all supporting the channel for sure. Let's go to the chat here real quick. Captain in the chat, Captain Kebbles says, our red zone offense is slaughtering them. OMG. I hope that's true. That's what we want to hear, right? Obviously, points are the name of the game. 2-0 for this says, get Tim live film and practice, and then live getting kicked out. Get your foot off the back of my head. I can hear Tim screaming it right now. But we need to give him a GoPro to put on his ball cap. That's what we need. But AFAM in the chat says, I wonder if Tim wears a fanny pack to carry all his camera equipment. Let's see what else we got here. And Respect Orange says, interceptions from our Ds. So there you go, man. Good stuff. Let's kind of dive into it. I'm going to close this out. I'm going to jump back and forth between different Twitter handles. And let's see. I know it started off slow, so prepare yourself for that, Jacob. Let's go over to – actually, let's stick with Ryan Wood for a second. See if Ryan Wood has any decent updates here. I know that our boy Wes Hawkowitz has done a great job. So right off the bat, it says Jordan Love tried to hit Jaden Reed over the middle, and Ravens linebacker Roquan Smith undercuts it for a pick. Impressive play from Smith, one of the NFL's best, went up and got the football. Slow start for the Packers offense. That's been one of the talking points, Jacob, is like Roquan Smith was horrible. He was booty cheeks in Chicago. Baltimore said, we'll take him and turn him into a stud. They get him out of Chicago. You know he was happy to leave that place. My gosh.
Yeah, he definitely was not getting the most utilization from Chicago. I don't know if it was a scheme, the coaches, just the whole fact that the city is a poopy nest of despair and disgustingness. But whatever happened when he went over to Baltimore, they definitely coached him up the right way. I think that he was always a really athletically gifted one that was, I think, better in coverage, but they seemed like they really made him into a more well-rounded linebacker once he did go over there. I know it's got to tick Ryan off too, because he loved making fun of Roquan. He loved poking holes and that the Roquan was so good kind of thing. And at the time, he was right.
Yes, yeah. And it's because the Bears fans were so excited about him, and then they just immediately turned on him. And he played bad. It's funny, they were making fun of PFF for 2 years, and they don't know what the hell they're talking about because they were grading Roquan so low. Then all of a sudden it was, he's garbage, get him out of here. Mm-hmm. They trade him away, and now his PFF grades go through the roof, and he's a dominant linebacker. You just love to see.
Too old for this says our kickers seeing Justin Tucker on the field is like when Michael hired Danny Cordray to Dunder Mifflin and everybody felt threatened by his greatness. They're like, hey, that's him over there. No, that's a male model. No, that's Danny Cordray.
Love it. Ryan Wood tweeted out, Malik Heath beats rookie cornerback Nate Wiggins on a go route right sideline, and Sean Clifford does not miss. Dropped it over Heath's shoulder for about 45 yards. Clifford needed that throw. So you're seeing Clifford battle back here with this with his backup quarterback battle. They did it the other night in the preseason game too, Jacob. They came out and they started throwing it straight down the field, didn't they? 40, 50-yard bombs. And I gotta be honest, those weren't horrible throws by Clifford. They were pretty close to the mark, and he impressed me with his arm strength. They say Pratt has a much stronger arm than Clifford, but Clifford got enough on it to throw the deep ball, I believe.
Yeah, I think there was a few that Malik Heath was just barely kind of outstretched hands, that it was just a little bit past where he could get it. But I agree. I wouldn't necessarily want to see more of that in the next game. I'm confident that both those guys can kind of chuck it down the field. I want to see more of them taking time and not panicking and going through their progressions and making some of those more kind of dinking, and I don't want to say dinking and dunking, but just more like methodical, get down the field. It seems like they're very sporadic and that they'll have a really great flashy play, but then they have like 3 or 4 in a row where they just can't even seem to get in rhythm. So I think it's the same thing we saw at young Jordan Love, is we see flashes of really crazy stuff, but I need consistency. I just want the young guys to be consistent.
Understand. Ryan Wood went on to tweet Jordan Love's numbers through the first 3 team periods, which were split between first and second down and third down. 6 of 12, 52 yards, and an INT, an interception. It's been a slow start versus the Ravens defense. Sean Clifford hit Malik Heath for a 45-yard bomb. Michael Pratt hit Grant DuBose for about 25 on a bootleg. I think they said he rolled right and hit him on a bootleg play there. So the backups playing pretty well. The starters were started off struggling there. So that's all we got from Ryan Wood right now. You keep your eye on the chat for me, Jacob.
That's what I'm doing here.
Yeah. There you want to hit on, and just feel free to mark them. Go ahead and pop them up whenever you want to, man.
One that I was going to say is right away, White 009 says Justin Tucker just missed a kick. Something is in the air at Green Bay. That's crazy. That guy is pretty much automatic.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Justin Tucker, some are talking about he's the greatest of all time. I guess you could put him in that conversation, or maybe even lock him up for that. I mean, he's definitely the best kicker in the league right now.
Who else would you see? Vinatieri or
yeah? I mean,
just
it's just
hard. Clutch kicks. I think if you're measuring it by like.
And what's crazy though, and listen, this is Pat McAfee's guy. Don't get me wrong. Pat McAfee is the ultimate wingman. You want that dude building you up. He builds everybody up. But he said many people underestimate Adam Vinatieri's leg strength because he very rarely had to use it. They said he could boom it too, they being Pat. But yeah, I think I would still have to put Vinatieri over Justin Tucker, but I think I'm in the minority with that, man. Yeah, there you go, Dennis. Chris Jackie would like a word with a lot of people. That man is there you go. So we'll just leave it at that. Let's see what else we got here real quick. With Wes Heikowitz, let's just jump over there and see if we got anything. He gets some really good video shots, man. There's no doubt about it. You see the team here.
That was one I thought was cool, just seeing the 2 Louisville guys out there.
I would love to see that picture. Imagine getting that autographed by both Jair and Lamar and having it framed. That would be a cool shot, especially if you're a Louisville Cardinal fan for sure. I love how you say Louisville and I say Louisville.
I was just going to ask. People in the South used to yell at me all the time because I'd say Louisville, like a Louisville Slugger. And everybody would be like, no, dude, just say Lou and then just say Ville as fast as you can right after that. And I was like, Louisville? And they're like, yep. Yeah.
See, and where I'm from, down on the Appalachian Trail back in the holler, we would say Louisville, really Vol at the end, Louisville. So, but you guys don't need me to tell you this. We were very undereducated where I'm from, but it is what it is. Let's see right here. Wes Heikowitz says Stokes breaks up a Jackson deep ball for Bateman. So Stokes showing up there a little bit. Hopper stops Likely. I think that's the tight end, right? Isaiah Likely, am I thinking right? They got 2 solid tight ends.
Dude, he's a beast too. He's huge, man.
They got Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely. That's just insane. Getting some run with the ones is what it says for Hopper there. Hopper, how you feel about Hopper so far, man? Because, again, when I watched the game the other night, first time through live on TV, chart and everything, I felt like he played well. And then you go back and you kind of look at some of the tape and some of the PFF grades, and you think, okay, he kind of struggled in the passing game. But as a first-round pick, they obviously had a lot more value on him than we did on draft night. I think there's a legit shot he might be able to break into that lineup from time to time, man.
Yeah, you said you meant 3rd-round pick, right? That's what it was?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and
I didn't mean first. Yeah, no, 3rd-round pick, yeah.
You know, I've been pleasantly surprised because of the fact I remember, and if you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure at the end of draft weekend, we all kind of said like the only pick that kind of had us scratching our heads was Tyron Hopper in the 3rd. And we looked around to see kind of where his ADP was and a lot of these other kinds of attributes. And we're just like, man, it just, for whatever reason, it doesn't fit. But I remember we all kind of came to the conclusion, like Goody and them must see something that we don't see. Let's maybe give it time. And I mean, sure enough, I think that he had a quiet camp. And as far as just not being, we've heard a lot about Bullard and a lot about Evan and a lot about guys like that, but he's been quietly, I think, performing well, getting better. And then I thought he made a pretty explosion type like game where he kind of showed that he can be left in there for a while. He's getting a lot of tackles. And like you said, there's definitely some stuff to work on as far as how he's diagnosing certain plays and taking angles. And definitely the coverage has to be worked on. But for where he's at right now, for where we drafted him and for how poorly I think a lot of the fan base had him rated right out of the gun, I think that I couldn't be happier. I think if he were to honestly critique himself, I think he should be pretty happy too, just because he's getting some pretty good run time now.
Definitely. Wes Hockowitz tweeted out, "I apologize for the chewing. I don't apologize enough to stop eating. Just got home. We're munching on a brat and some chips. It's just, sorry. This is, if you haven't noticed by now, this show sucks, and it's going to continue to suck. All right, it is what it is." Wes Hockowitz said, "TJ Slayton has been outstanding so far. Collapses the pocket with Gary coming off the edge. Likely sack, still an incompletion across the middle." So you're seeing TJ Slayton kind of show up today, feeling really good about the defense all of a sudden. Like they seem like they have showed up, and Baltimore got a pretty good offense, if I remember correctly. Strong running game. Lamar has really, really upped his passing game significantly here the last couple of years. Obviously, he's a former MVP. That's good to see there with TJ Slayton. So, TJ is a lock for this roster. I think you would agree with that, right, Jacob? Him being that kind of that sole one tech, seeing that you want to put Kenny at the 3 from time to time.
Yeah, I really do. And honestly, you could make the argument that the TJ Slayton's been one of the studs, if not the stud of camp. Because I remember when we first started hearing it, I always love referencing Ryan, because Ryan for years would push back on me about TJ and just said, he just doesn't do anything really that well. And he doesn't even really utilize his size that well. So I remember when Ryan even started getting updates, he goes, all right. He goes, don't be fooling with me now, and it took him like 2 or 3 days when finally he's like, is this TJ Slayton thing real? And ever since then, it seems like he's on board, and he's acknowledged that it's not just, it doesn't sound like it's coach speak. It doesn't sound like it's just random trying to fill an article or trying to get some clicks here or there. It's consistent. It seems like every day in practice, we're hearing TJ Slayton's flashing. TJ Slayton looks quick. TJ Slayton looks stout. TJ Slayton's good against the run. And I freaking love it, because I love that dude since the time we got him in, man. I want to get him a new face mask. I want him to have that massive, just like nasty looking one. And I want to see if we can get him a visor. And I don't think that they're allowed to wear those big cowboy collars anymore, are they?
You don't see them. Maybe they're just not cool enough anymore.
If we do, I want him to look as Gilbert Brown as he can get. And I want to throw an extra like 3 or 4 inches just with those pad weight on him, and just, oh man, that's what I want.
Yeah, definitely. All right, let's go to the chat real quick. Respect Oranges says, with that bad start, do we think J Love plays a series on Saturday? I think it's still too early. I want to see how the whole practice goes. To be honest with you, Respect Oranges. I'm team play. Roll them out there and play them a series or two. I just feel like it's important to get some of those snaps in. But I love what LaFleur did last year. I'm one of those people. And I know some people love it, some people hate it. I'm not like crazy about it either way to where I would get mad if they don't play them. But if you're asking me, get them out there, man. Listen, when the reigning Super Bowl champs got their starters out there and we're somehow convinced that we don't need to play our starters in the preseason, that bothers me a little bit. It really does. So yeah, it is what it is. 2-0 for this says, no fights or injuries from what I've heard, knock on wood. Successful practice. Amen to that. Captain Kevel says Lamar running for his life, apparently. That's what we want to see. It's funny. No injuries, thank God. But we want Lamar running for his life. 2-0 for this says Goot's best picks are the ones we shake our heads at. It's so true, man. To me, I don't go, oh, stupid pick. What kind of damn ego do you have to say that's a stupid pick? I immediately go into reverse engineer mode. Like, okay, how did we miss it? How did this happen? What happened, right? What happened and why did it happen, like we always say. So Let's see here. 2-0 for this says, put the chips on the brat. It's a great decision. Amen. Amen. AFAM says,
you just said that like Theo Von, Clayton. You went, hey, man. Like your teeth clenched a little bit.
When he clenches his jaw.
He's having a little revisit from times prior.
What was it he said? He said something on the Joe Rogan show, and he said, I'll watch your whole family eat.
That's right.
Unbelievable, man. Unbelievable. But yeah, AFAM says, I'm sure Clayton puts ketchup on his brats. No, that's a no-go for me. Mustard, and listen,
sauerkraut,
something's coming on here lately, boys. I might get roasted in the chat. I don't know if I've hit the age or what, but honey mustard, I'm all over it right now, bro.
Honey mustard on your brat?
On everything, bro. Put it on everything. I'm telling you, I put it on burgers now. I'm putting it on brats. I'm putting it on turkey sandwiches. You got to put something on turkey sandwiches. My God, that's drier than my personality, bro. It's so bad. It is so bad. Boy. But yeah, no ketchup though, man. That's disgusting. Respect oranges. Clayton eats them brats whole. Easy killer. So over this, Clayton turns into Joey Chestnut when he sees a brat. I really do, man. And then Andy, here we go. This is what I'm going to see. 4 passes for Love inside the 10 with 4 touchdowns. Is that good, guys?
You're a podcast listener, and this is a podcast ad. Reach great listeners like yourself with podcast advertising from Libsyn Ads. Choose from hundreds of top podcasts offering host endorsements, or run a reproduced ad like this one across thousands of shows to reach your target audience with Libsyn Ads. Go to libsynads.com now. That's LIBSYN ads.com. You're a podcast listener, and this is a podcast ad. Reach great listeners like yourself with podcast advertising from Libsyn Ads. Choose from hundreds of top podcasts offering host endorsements, or run a reproduced ad like this one across thousands of shows to reach your target audience with Libsyn Ads. Go to libsynads.com now. That's LIBSYN ads.com. You're a podcast listener, and this is a podcast ad. Reach great listeners like yourself with podcast advertising from Libsyn Ads. Choose from hundreds of top podcasts offering host endorsements, or run a reproduced ad like this one across thousands of shows to reach your target audience with Libsyn Ads. Go to libsynads.com now. That's LIBSYN ads.com. You're a podcast listener, and this is a podcast ad. Reach great listeners like yourself with podcast advertising from Libsyn Ads. Choose from hundreds of top podcasts offering host endorsements, or run a reproduced ad like this one across thousands of shows to reach your target audience with Libsyn Ads. Go to libsynads.com now. That's LIBSYN ads.com.
Is that good, Jacob? That red zone.
High score. What does that mean? Did I break it?
Did I break it? Oh my God, from Grandma's boy, right?
Yeah, dude. Is that good? What does that mean? High score. What does that mean?
AFAM says, I need to see some more bend and breakdown from Van Ness. His RAS doesn't translate to real football. That last preseason game, PFF had him graded pretty low, Jacob. It just, when you've got the talent and the ability that he does, you feel like, okay, we can coach that out of him. We can coach that out of him, right? If it is a problem. And listen, I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm a film junkie from the sense of looking at proper technique. That is not my forte. I am the guy. Zoom out. What are we doing? What's the personnel? What's the formation? Strategically, what are we trying to accomplish? I'm not the dude to break down. I don't like his back pedal. I don't like his knee bend. I am completely ignorant when it comes to that stuff. So are you worried at all with LVN? Because I feel pretty good about where he's at.
I'm not worried. I do kind of understand what AFM's, I think, getting at. And I will admit that I thought he definitely looked a little more 10-man boxy his first year. I saw just him more not being comfortable. I think it was just kind of taking it all in. But I think I've seen some progression in the way that he seems a little more flowy. I think he's a little more bendy, but I understand what AFM, I think, is trying to say. He does look a little stiff at times. But I think that I've seen some progression. I think this is kind of cool. We got DD_Q, DDS_Q said, "What's good from a Bucks fan? I love watching guys talk ball on YouTube."
That's awesome.
Hey, thanks for stopping by. I don't have no problem with the Buccaneers.
Other than when they're boat racing our ass in the playoffs, you know what I mean? That sucks.
Or back in the day when they were part of the Central. You remember that?
Mm-hmm.
That was so random.
Some of the best games, though. If you go back to the 90s, go to YouTube and just type in like Warren Sapp, Brett Favre. Man, those matchups. Oh, that was when I fell in love with the game of professional football, no doubt. And I need to get down to a Tampa game. I've got to see that stadium. It's one of my favorite stadiums.
It's Raymond James, right?
Yeah. Well, they may have changed it. I don't know. That was a sponsor forever, but I love the whole pirate ship theme. All that.
That's cool.
I got to get there for sure. And I can't let I hope Mandy's not watching the stream. She would have me in Florida every other weekend. She loves it down there. And I'm trying to pay the bills, but I'm trying to keep the lights on here. So don't encourage it, whatever you do. All right, back to the practice. I like Wes Hakowitz quoted Paul Brettel analysis, McKinney good. So McKinney must be pressing. Here we go. Paul Brettel said, McKinney in on several plays, tackle in run game at line of scrimmage, makes the tackle in the flat on a pass breakup over the middle. Bullard starting next to him, but Williams getting work too, right on par with what we talked about. I think McKinney is really, really going to make a huge difference this year, Jacob. Wes Hakowitz said, never wasted a step with McKinney, never a wasted step with McKinney, always where he needs to be with one ear turned to the ball, man. They're going to get me fired up over some McKinney.
Where did that did you just mention a little burp about Bullard that I heard there?
Yeah, it just said he was starting alongside McKinney.
Okay.
And it said Bullard starting next to him, but Williams getting work too.
Gotcha. Okay. Did you by chance see PFF Green Bay released just about an hour ago that Javon Bullard, and then they just did a couple of this quick highlights, out of 17 coverage snaps so far, he's allowed 9 passing yards in coverage, and he has currently a 76.7 run defense grade.
Nice.
Bro.
Oh, bro.
I didn't know. I retweeted and I was like, I had no idea that he was playing this well already.
And when we seen it, again, I know you probably cringe when I say this, but you were the one. I don't take compliments well. I assume other people don't either. You were the one that was like, we need to watch this Javon Bullard kill. And we turned on the tape, and it was like, whoa, this dude, a little bit different from Darnell Savage, really excited to see what he does this year. And he's definitely the starter alongside McKinney, no doubt about it. Let's see here from Wes Hakowitz, just a quick little video. We've had it looped here of Jordan Love and Lamar Jackson here on the practice field. Back to the coverage, it says, Wes Hakowitz says, good coverage, and Preston penetrates for a likely sack of Jackson in the red zone. So the defense standing up there. Devontae Wyatt meets Justice Hill in the backfield. That's what you want to see right there.
That's awesome.
Hill being a running back, and that's been Devontae Wyatt's weak spot, Jacob. Want to see him flash for sure. And looky here. Cut him. Trade him. Justin Tucker missed the field goal. Right?
Get right up.
So, what do you think about Devontae Wyatt there, man? That's the type of updates you want to see. We know he's going to be able to rush the passer. Got to tighten up that run defense, right?
Yeah, and Justice Hill is a pretty quick little guy, so it's nice to know. It sounds like maybe it was one of those where he just ran, stood him up. There was no escaping. And, because we've seen – I really hate throwing any kind of shade on Devontae Wyatt, but there was a lot of clips last year where you see him perfectly penetrate and just whiff on the running back. And that was one where it was like, dude, that one kills me of more than any of the kind of whatever you want to call them, bad plays, misplays, is when you're in position to make a tackle for a loss and you end up whiffing so bad and the guy ends up possibly going for 6-7 first down. That makes me want to swallow a milkshake full of nails.
Jesus. There you go. You heard it. I see, I wish Tim was there. You heard it from a fan. Yeah, I'm going to hit it anyway. We're going to find it real quick.
Heard it from a fan right here.
So let's see here what else we got going on in practice. I think we have one more update that came through, and then we'll jump back over to Ryan Wood. Says, good showing for the Packers 2 defense in move the ball. Forced a 4-and-out. Baltimore drives on a second try with a seam to Ismail, but Anthony Johnson Jr. breaks up a pass and gets a tackle for a loss to end it. So there you go, man. Number 2's showing up big time there. Let's hop over to Ryan Wood. Anthony Johnson Jr. kind of feels like he's a lock in this roster. Go ahead, Jacob. What you got?
Yeah, that's another one, though. Just a real quick update from Rob Demoski. He says out of those 4 nice red zone touchdowns for Love and the number 1 offense, the first was a screen to Kraft with plenty of blockers. We've talked about how we need to get the screen game going, so that's cool. Let's see. 1 was a fade to Watson and 2 outs to Dobbs at the left pylon.
So it was a screen to, you say to Kraft? Is that what you said?
Screen to Kraft, fade to Watson, and 2 out routes to the left pylon to Dobbs.
You notice that Tucker Kraft screen, tight end screen, starting to pop up more and more consistently. We might see that early on this year. That's exciting stuff. So here's a little more red zone numbers. It says in the red zone, Jordan Love completed 6 of 7 passes for 42 yards, 4 touchdowns inside the 10-yard line.
Let's go.
9-yard check, Tucker Kraft, great yak. Is that the one you were talking about? Maybe.
Yeah. Yep.
6-yard stop to Romeo Dobbs. So I'm at a stop route, I'm assuming. 4-yard out to Christian Watson. 3-yard out to Dobbs. So there's your 4 touchdowns. And then Ryan Wood also, before that, he said Christian Watson just won a jump ball in the end zone over Ravens safety Kyle Hamilton. Ooh. Much better red zone period for the Packers offense. I think Matt LaFleur is going to be a lot happier with this result. Because, again, you're not going to win every single rep in practice, theoretically. But if you do win, the reps you do win, Jacob, you want to make sure you're putting points on the board for sure. That's really cool. And then it says, in Move the Ball, Jordan Love hits Jaden Reed for 33 yards deep over the middle. Would have been 38-yard touchdown in the game. A bit underthrown, but Reed made a good adjustment for a catch. On the drive, Love completed 3 of 5 passes for 69 yards. Let's go. Let's do it. I'd love to know what route that was. If it was maybe a deep climb or if it was one of those deep stop routes. I don't know if you've seen that, but they love to go play action. Leak underneath the X and the Z, or if you go with a heavy set, maybe your Y, they'll show a deep streak, and then they'll both it turns into a choice at the top of the route. If the safety flips their hips, chop it down, turn around for a nice little deep curl, deep stop, whatever you want to call it. And if the safety bites down or clamps onto their hip, then you might take a shot play. Another thing they like to do, it's not technically dagger, but it's the same concept because dagger is typically between 2 wide receivers on one side of the formation, but they'll run that same look out of a heavy set, go with a deep shot, and then the dagger aspect with a deep crosser underneath. That works really well there too out of those heavy sets. And the whole goal is 12 to 21 personnel, get them in their base, get them thinking real. If you go extra heavy, who knows, they might come out in kind of like a 4-4 look and then hit them with the play action over the top. So you love to see that stuff early on. And I'm wondering if that was a deep crosser from Jaden Reed or if that might have been one of those stop routes we were talking about. So, all right, we're up to date at Ryan Wood. What do you got in the chat, Jake? You got any mark there, man? You want to hit on?
I believe we do. So let's start here with Mr. Dennis Shook. He said, do you guys watch the Greenlight Pod with Chris Long yesterday? RG, Kenny, and Wicks. I fell in love with Wicks after that interview. I did not know that. So I'm assuming that means that they're all 3 together. That sounds like an awesome listen. I did not know that was available. I'll have to totally check that out. Have you heard that, Clayton?
I've seen people have sent me clips, but I've been so busy I haven't had a chance to check it out. But it sounds like they did have all 3 of them because it was Chris Long, right? Is that what you said?
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. Chris, yeah, I know media people don't like it when a lot of players jump into that side of the podcasting and everything. Fans love it because they have that respect of the players, and they're actually going to sit down, lower those walls, and talk ball with them, as opposed to someone like, okay, what are you trying to get from me for your article type thing? So I'll have to check that out for sure.
Yeah. And then Mr. Drew D comes in saying Vaness had a 7.023 cone, which is a good time and shows that he can bend. He also had a good short shuttle. I agree with that.
Killed everything at the combine, man. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, he was a high 9 RAS, right? He was like 9.7 or 9, maybe even more. Can't remember exactly. So Turtles in the chat. What up, So Turtles? Says went from one of the worst safety rooms to possibly a top 5. Yeah, I don't argue with that. And that's pretty crazy how I actually heard, I don't remember who it was. Somebody was giving some criticism to Goody's draft style where it's like he waits until we have a glaring need at a position and then like carpet bombs them with like 3 or 4 draft picks in one thing. But it's like, I don't know. I kind of almost agree with that strategy in a way. Like as long as you don't leave too many glaring holes at once, you know what I'm trying to say? So if you can kind of each year just say, hey, we're really bad at left tackle. We're going to take one in the first round and probably a couple in rounds 5 to 7. And then one of the guys, hopefully they're going to hit. I think it's a smart strategy. And obviously it's been working, I would say, decently well so far.
I think that begins with the end in mind, Jacob. And people say, you know, they make fun of people like us and teams that say you don't draft for need, you draft best player available. But typically that best player available pool is full of a position of need. And the reason being is when they go into a season like right now, as we talk about modeling your roster, they're putting together a model, a blueprint of how they want this roster to look moving forward. And they're probably going, okay, we're keeping this guy, we're not keeping that guy, we're keeping this guy, we're not keeping that guy. And if they do that, if they approach it from that standpoint, then they're sending their scouts out. Not that you don't scout every position, but you're going to put more emphasis on specific positions because there is just a small amount of time that these scouts have overall to be able to go out and scout all the players that they want to scout. So I think what ends up happening there, and the reason you end up double dipping and sometimes triple dipping in the draft and even free agency, is you go into the offseason going, okay, here's our top needs. Let's spend a lot of time on like the safety position. We know we're going to need a lot of safeties, right? It doesn't necessarily mean you're going to draft 2 of them, but you go in and you go, okay, let's spend a lot of time on the safeties. You're spending extra time scouting the safeties. Well, guess what? You uncover more information and you find out, okay, here's 3 studs we really like. And then when it comes draft time, I'm not saying you'll have more safeties on the board than other positions, but I guarantee you those positions of need, you've got someone more information on those players. That's how you end up taking those, like that tight end that year. We were going, man, they need a tight end bad, right? Well, they double dip. They probably double dip because they spent that extra time to scout those players. And then they came away going, man, we like Tucker Kraft just as good as Luke Musgrave, right? Let's take him too. Same thing probably happened with Javon Bullard and Evan Williams this year. Katano Ladapo, same thing. I think that's how you kind of get to that point, if that makes sense. So it's not just like, oh, Hart, look, this fell right into place. I think they've got a lot more information on those positions of emphasis. So
yeah. Drew D says, I'm loving what I see from Bullard. People have been surprised by Williams, so Bullard flying under the radar a bit, but I think Bullard starts.
That's what I want. I want everybody flying under the radar, Jacob.
Yeah, and honestly, I think Katano Ladapo, Matt LaFleur keeps saying that he's slowly and quietly really improving. I definitely saw him with more snaps this last preseason game, and I actually noticed him actually coming in and making some tackles, shedding some blocks, taking good angles. I think he even had a PBU, if I'm not mistaken, but I'm excited. I am really thrilled with all 3 safety picks. I would have thought that I would have been probably Bullard, Oladapo, and Williams in that order with no expectations of Williams really doing much of anything for me. And now I think it's a tied between it's 1A and 1B with Bullard and Williams, and then super pumped with Oladapo coming back with any sort of progression. And honestly, I'm pretty pumped with the linebacking crews at the same thing. Like there's not a person on this list of our draft picks, I would say, other than maybe Glover and Morgan, that I'm just a little bit like, I wouldn't say that I'm disappointed by any means, but I would have liked to have seen more by this point. But I'm in no way, shape, or form saying that it's a bust or anything like that.
Right. Definitely. All right. So here's Andy Herman with a 2-minute drill. Okay. And we may have heard some of these already mixed in with some of the other tweets. I love how Andy Herman puts everything in order, kind of really paints a picture on what happens. It says 2-minute drill, Packers offense, down by 3 points, 1 minute and 30 seconds left, ball on the 30, 1 timeout, 1st and 10. God, I love situational football. Love the read on a slant for 15. The clock ticks. Love incomplete to the right on the next play. Love to Dobbs deep down the left sideline, down deep into the red zone. Great route, great play. So connected with Dobbs late there, deep down the field in this 2-minute drill. Love complete short, loss of about 4, timeout. Mental mistake there for sure. Love throws to Wicks, back corner of the end zone, but overthrown and incomplete. Huge 3rd down coming up. Love incomplete to the back corner of the end zone again. Couldn't tell the wide receiver. Good drive, stalls in the red zone. Field goal team is on for the tie. Let's see if we can figure out exactly what happened there. So here we go. Carlson hits the field goal to tie the game in the red zone, period. So far today with the kickers, Jacob, we're going to get into that kicker talk, my man. Anders Carlson, 4 for 4 as of this tweet right here. There may be an update to this later on. We'll definitely hit on it later on tonight on PTA Live. It looks like Greg Joseph is 2 for 3. So the camp totals now has Anders Carlson 58 of 71 at 81.7%. Greg Joseph 56 of 72 at 77.8%. Alex Hale 14 of 21 for 66.7%. So Anders Carlson still with about a 4% lead there roughly, Jacob, as he's 4 for 4 today so far. Nice little update there on the kicking team. Now let's go to the Ravens side of the ball here. So here's the same drill for them, same situation, like a minute 30, 1 timeout, the whole 9 yards. Okay. Kenny Clark starts with a sack. Timeout. Lamar fires a completion to Lively. Bullard closed quick, but Lively made the catch. Clock ticks. Lamar complete to the sideline, out of bounds. 4th down, Lamar finds a check down for a first down. Lamar to Justice Hill again on a check down. Clock ticks. Lamar to Bateman on a crosser. Lots of time coming off. First down. Spike down to 10 seconds left. No timeouts. Great coverage and pressure by the defensive line, I'm assuming. Lamar has to throw it away. 3 seconds left. Justin Tucker on for a massive kick. I think 60 plus, but either way, a big one. Missed it, though. Packers defense wins.
Let's go.
So the offense stepping it up today. Defense looking solid, man. That's got to get you excited right there. What about Kenny Clark just taking over, man?
That's awesome. Yeah, I think, honestly, this is – I don't want to say it was perfect by any means. Definitely some stuff they could work on. Obviously, we don't want to hear about Jordan Love throwing a pick to Roquan, but once it seems, again, once Jordan Love kind of settled down, maybe started things started slowing down for him a little bit, got a little bit of the nerves of the bugs out. He seems like he gets pretty freaking honed in pretty quickly now. 4 red zone visits and the 4 touchdown throws. The defense is the biggest thing for me because that offense is no joke over there in Baltimore, obviously. And it sounds like that we were having him run around like a chicken with his head cut off. And it sounds like the defensive line specifically was not getting thrown around in the run game, which music to my ears, man. That's exciting.
Absolutely. You got any more chats you want to hit on real quick?
There might be a few of them up here still. Already worked on that one here.
Get a little more detail as you pull that up there. Anders Carlson, 35-yarder, ties it for the ones, 2-minute drill. So that was a 35-yarder that Anders Carlson hit. Justin Tucker, 62-yarder. It actually came up short, was that kick. More details. That was from Matt Schnapping. Go ahead, Jake.
Yeah, this was CJN. This was in reference to when we were talking about the kickers and special teams. I saw a stat 2 years ago that showed Green Bay being the lowest salary towards special teams players. He says it's hard to be successful on special teams when you're paying bottom barrel players. What are your thoughts on that?
Saw a stat. Pull it back up there one more time. Let me read it again. Saw a stat 2 years ago that showed Green Bay Packers being the lowest salary towards special teams players. Hard to be successful. I think it's a valid point. I'll tell you a team forever that spent a lot of money on special teams and it paid off was the New England Patriots. I've been told and reading in books, yes, believe it or not, I know how to read, common practice, West Coast offense-based teams don't put a lot of money, a lot of emphasis on special teams. Those old school Bill Parcells tree guys, like your Sean Paytons, your obviously Bill Belichick, anyone that kind of comes from that line of coaching, they put a lot of emphasis on money spent special teams positions. Now, immediately you think, okay, that checks out. Packers special teams cost them a Super Bowl appearance there a couple of years ago, right? 3 years ago, whatever it was. And then think of Sean Payton run teams. You remember the surprise onside kick? Jake?
Yeah.
Like, it checks out. So I think there's probably something to that, CJN. I do. And again, people say, what's West Coast offense got to do with special teams? It's West Coast. The West Coast offense, it was more of a mindset organizationally that Bill Walsh created. It wasn't just about the offense. It was how they do everything from top to bottom. And it just kind of seems like they didn't put as much emphasis on special teams as most teams did. You know, now you say that, and then look how Ron Wolf built the Packers. Obviously, he had Desmond Howard that year, and I think we would all agree that might have been the difference in them winning the Super Bowl that year was the fact that they had Desmond Howard all year, especially in the Super Bowl. And then what happened the next year? Y'all remember? 2 years later, they just let him walk, didn't they? They didn't even sign him back. So it kind of you can look at that and go, well, the Packers got Desmond Howard. They did, but then they didn't put enough value on him to keep him. Now, kind of feels like that mold's a little broken, seeing that we just gave Keyshawn Nixon, $5 to $6 million per year to pretty much be the kick returner, albeit he's going to be the slot defender too. So,
yeah.
Go ahead. Next one, Jake. You got anything else you want to hit?
This is just Respect Oranges talking about how when we were talking about the depth at the in the secondary, he says, and we still have Robert Rochelle to get more looks, Rich at safety. I think Rochelle has to make this practice squad, I would hope. Because he's been really impressive on special teams, especially too. And I've been really impressed with his physicality. It seems like that from when I've seen him compared to last year, he just looks like he's a much more physical and actually aggressive type of D back there. So I agree with that. Drew D says Carlson seems to be starting to take over. Not sure how Joseph could win the job now. I don't see any sort of shakeup, especially with the Alex Hale thing when they were willing to get rid of Anamegwu to basically, I think, like Tim said last night, basically that's our ace in the hole or a backup plan, whatever you want to call it. I don't think they're going to worry about kicker much more.
Yeah, I think Greg Joseph is. Again, I've said it from the get-go. If he had like a 5-6 kick lead in camp, I'd be like, okay, that might be the guy. But he came back down to earth. I just, unless, and I don't even want to say this, I'd rather not, but I'm going to. Unless Anders just absolutely craps the bed the next 4 days, it's got to be Anders Carlson's job. And believe me, Tim will run a victory lap. I don't blame him.
Yep. Speaking of Carlson, Too Old for This says, I want Anders to try a 60-pluser. I would, just for fun, I want to see, like, why don't we ever, I want to see, like, a skill set. Remember the quarterback challenge? Remember when they used to do that? Why would they ever get away from that, dude? That was, like, my funnest thing in the world. But I want to see the kickers do that as well and just see who is the longest booter in the NFL. Remember when they used to do, I think Favre won the distance challenge.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
He was a
dude,
Mississippi.
Every time those guys threw that ball in that challenge, I could feel every nerve in my shoulder. Like, you know that hurts, man. Let's see here. Wes Hocklitz tweeted out, Michael Pratt leads the number 2 offense to points as Greg Joseph makes a 52-yarder to end the drill. Also, Grant Dubose made an insane catch on the sideline to aid the series. Skied to get the ball. Sounds like Dubose had a pretty good practice today. That's 2 different highlights I've heard about today. So, pretty cool.
Yep.
Keep on hitting the comments, Jake.
Yeah, I know I just got one sent to me from Justin, and it matches with what Andy is putting up right here. Evan Williams picks off Josh Johnson over the middle to win 2 minute for the backups. Rookie safety has 5 interceptions in camp. The Packers flood the field and celebrate. Woo! That is, man, today's been shaping up to be all right.
Yeah, all right. Let's see. I think we got Andy Herman with that final drive here with the updates. Let's hit it real quick. Same situation for the Ravens twos. Josh Johnson hits his receiver on a crosser for 5 out of bounds. Mosby sack. Look at Mosby flashing again. But looks like there was a penalty on the Packers. First down Ravens. Short completion for Johnson. And then Evan Williams with the pick of Johnson over the middle for the win.
I love it. I love it. Did you go through the Andy Herman breakdown of the Packers twos? Do you have that?
I did not, did I?
Right below it there. Yeah.
No, let's hit it, man. Good call, Jacob. I overlooked it for sure. Golly. All right. Yeah, we got a content. All right, here we go. Same situation. I was going to say, man, that's long, but I know the chat is so immature that same situation for the Packers twos. Pratt at quarterback. Pratt to DeBose short. Clock ticks. Incomplete down the right sideline. Not sure if it was an overthrow or a throwaway. Love to Torrey. Did we hit that one already? Love to Torrey? You think he maybe meant Pratt to Torrey? I bet he did.
Yeah.
Pratt to Torrey over the middle, high and out of reach. 4th down coming up. Pratt incomplete, but looks like holding on defense. 1st down. Pratt low on a throw to Merriweather, probably best. Wasn't going to get anywhere. Pratt fires to DeBose along the sidelines for a gain of 9 out of bounds. Pratt to Merriweather, complete along the sidelines. 1st down and out of bounds. 30 seconds left. 1 timeout. 1st and 10. Pratt incomplete along the right sidelines. There's 70 Ravens blocking my view, so I can't see everything. Pratt to Sims, complete over the middle. Short gain of about 5, timeout. 3rd and 5 coming up. 21 seconds left, no timeouts. Pratt to Torrey on a slant. Torrey on a slant for a first. Spike, clock stop. 7 seconds left. Joseph is on for the potential tie. So that must have been the 52-yarder, I would say. It's a lot of information, but man, that is awesome. Evan Williams, dude, I can't stop thinking about it.
Oh yeah.
Again, I'm just as excited for Bullard. So, like whoever it was that said earlier in the chat, man, Goody went in there HGTV style or Magnolia Network style. So let's just redo everything here real quick. Let's just give it a little curb appeal. Bang, safety rooms completely revamped in 1 year. It's awesome.
William Gold in the chat says, if Williams or Bullard replaces Nixon in the slot and the other team always kicks it into the end zone, problem is we have a $6 million backup in Nixon. Yeah, but if they're kicking it in the end zone, that means we're getting it at the 30 every time. So I don't know if that's worthwhile
and
or
here's
not.
the thing, too. Watch for Tuesday. What's his name? Mike Florio from Pro Football Talk was on the Pat McAfee show. I think it was yesterday or the day before, and was talking about they're going to relook. They're going to take another look at the kickoff rule, and they may move it to the 35 now, because what's happening is these teams are just going, let's just kick it in the end zone, right?
Yep.
So if you penalize them a little bit more, that might entice them to bring it out a little bit more. Even the kick returns that were brought out, though, Jacob, it hasn't looked explosive, really. Not like we expected,
No, definitely not. And I kind of hope that it doesn't alter the game that much. I mean, if anything, I'd rather the return, numbers, the yardage, the touchdowns, all that stay roughly similar, because then, I don't know. I hate major rule changes because it's just so hard to measure comparison of stats, of performances from year to year. You know what I mean? It's so different. But, man, I'm pretty excited about today. I think we needed this type of practice. I'd venture now I'm probably more 70-30 that I don't want the guys to play, at least Love. Starters.
Yeah, Love's a little bit different. That might be, I think who was it? It was either Towser or Balaga said definitely don't play Love, but maybe get some reps for the other guys.
Yeah. What do you think? We just kind of glossed over it. The fact that Pratt just went into the 2-minute drills as the number 2 quarterback.
I'm saying, man, to me, he looks better than Cliff to me. And again, I say to me like I'm sitting there in practice every day, going off of the updates, going off the preseason performance. Neither of them played great. The strip sack on Pratt, that was definitely a huge negative on his part, because he kind of lost focus of where the pocket was, and he held that thing out there like a loaf of bread and got stripped. But and then also on the flip side, Sean Clifford's interception, it was later confirmed by Matt. I know we've talked about it a couple of times on here, that the receiver was supposed to flatten the route off in the choice aspect. He screwed the pooch there, so it wasn't really on Sean Clifford, but still he threw late across the middle too. For me, if I had to, this is the way I always like to ask questions like this, Jake, because it's easy to skirt around what your answer would or would not be. You got to cut one today. Who you cut? You got to cut one, keep one. Is it Michael Pratt? Are you cutting Michael Pratt, or are you keeping Michael Pratt? Because for me, I think I'm keeping Michael Pratt.
I am too. Yeah.
Kinda,
I don't think. I mean, just because people forget that some people had this guy projected going in the first round. You remember when there was that talk?
Oh yeah.
That there was just because of, and it wasn't the fact that he was. I mean, literally, I think it was the fact that he was probably the last highly ranked group out of that, the really high ranked grouping. There was just, what was it, 6 quarterbacks, and 5 teams really needed a quarterback. After that, those initial 5 teams went. That's why he slid all the way back to the 7th. But he was I know for sure I saw him as a highly touted 2nd round pick up until draft day too. So that's pretty cool. And plus, like, that much value that just falls into our laps at 7th, I just don't see Goody, letting that just kind of fall through his hands. Yeah.
So I think there's another drill going on right here, or just a second ago. Yeah, here we go. Bang. We got the 3s now. Let's hit that real quick, Jacob.
Yeah, sure.
Hopefully you can see that okay, right?
There we go.
All right. So Andy Herman tweets out, same situation for the Packers 3s, Clifford at quarterback. So you're right. You're spot on, Jacob. He's with the 3s right now. Clifford complete to Swinson for 7 out of bounds. Clifford checks down to Merriweather, 1st down and out of bounds. Clifford drops in a dime on a deep corner route.
Pearson. Let's go.
What's that big hog molly doing that far down the field? Gorgeous throw, he says. So now, listen, everything I just said about Clifford and Pratt, forget it. All right, I changed my mind.
Well, hold on. Easy.
Let's see. Clifford throwaway looks like they are calling it a sack. Crosser to Stanley for a few. Carlson on for a field goal, and he made it.
This is a long kick, too, so that must have been.
Yeah, it would have had to have been, right?
Yeah.
So
nice.
Let's see if we can get an update on how long that kick was. Maybe someone else tweeted it out. I'll take a look at that real quick. If you want to hit anything else in the chat, we got to get ready to wrap this thing up. We got almost 450 people in here. Appreciate y'all hanging out with us. If you would, take a quick second, hit that like button for us. It helps us more than you know. And feel free to sub to the channel. We're going to be live every day through February, Jacob. Wow.
I was going to say for the next 6 months.
Yeah. We try to go live daily, and I think we pretty much did it all off season. But football season, my schedule lightens up a lot, especially after October. There'll just be random streams throughout the day too. We're going to treat this. We want to treat this channel like this is just a live Packers TV channel. Old school. Anytime you go to YouTube, we're going to be live talking ball. That's the goal. But feel free to sub. We appreciate y'all.
Yep. Too old for this says, I just threw a paper ball about 7 feet into the trash and my arm hurts. When we're talking about the quarterback challenge, I'm actually pretty sure that I still have a torn rotator cuff to this day because the last time I really tried to throw a football, I felt something crack and I just never got it fixed. So I feel you, bud. I feel you. CJN says, I'm fine with the kick out of bounds going to the 40. Kicking in the end zone goes to the 35, and then the kick in catch zone and then stop them within the 25. I wouldn't hate that. Makes sense. I think that gives a little more consequence too, so that your kicker's not just, I think a lot of the teams, like you just said, Clay, would be fine with, get it to 30. See what I care. We'll stop you. So CJN also goes on to say, I really have high hopes for Clifford, but I'm leaning towards Pratt right now. I think I've seen a lot of that in the chat as well, that people are kind of starting to sway a little bit more.
Yeah. And I think this is that last field goal we were just talking about. You said it must have been a long one. I think this is what Andy Herman's talking about. Carlson hits the 51-yard field goal to tie the game in the red zone period. Do you think that's it? So it was roughly 2 minutes ago. So Carlson 5 for 5 on the day. I'm not sure if that was completely updated or not. He's now 59 of 72. Jacob, he's starting to climb towards 85%. That's a good sign, man. That's a real good sign. Again, not saying we should stop exploring other options. The better one comes available, go get them. But I think they said K. York was traded today. Did you hear about that?
Yeah, Kid York got traded. I would like to see too. I wonder if anybody's feeling bored in the chat throughout the day. If there was a way to see where those misses for Anders came. Did they come a big chunk of them in the beginning of camp? Is he on I feel like he's on a bit of a streak right now.
I want to say it was the left hash that was giving him problems, but I could be wrong. I don't know why that I feel like that's what people talked about. So
we got a great bomb in the chat here. Mr. Aaron Rodgers is in the chat. He says, I'm in geology right now, but football is way more important than this lab. I agree. Thank you for sticking it through class.
I love it. I'm telling you, people like you give me hope for our country, that you're prioritizing football over schooling. That's priorities, man. It's all about priorities. So, let's see here. Andy Herman put a tweet out just now. I'm going to highlight it real quick. It says, outside of the love pick to Roquan and the near love pick to Roquan, I thought the Packers were fantastic today. Red zone periods were massively impressive. Great day of practice. That's what I'm talking. And as you guys know, Andy Herman is a fan, so we're going to hit him with.
You heard it from a fan right here.
There you go. So any other comments you want to hit on, Jacob? We'll wrap this thing up, man.
Honestly, I think we pretty much, we should be good. I think that was pretty productive. We covered everything we needed to cover. I'm not mad at all. I'm not annoyed after reading about a Packers practice for once.
It's always a good thing.
Yeah. No, dude, that was a great day, man. That was awesome.
I appreciate you jumping on such short notice, and hell of a job hitting the comment section. That was a lot of fun, man. We went rapid fire. Hopefully y'all didn't. You're always nervous about live streams like this. When there's a practice or something, it's like, oh, we got dead air. I never want dead air. Not a second of dead air, Jacob. It's because you kept the comments going. I appreciate you, bro.
Yeah, no worries. It's fun.
All right. We'll be back tonight, 7 p.m. Central Time, PTA Live. Oh, wait.
Hold on.
Before we go, we got Mr. Tim, coolest cat at practice. What you got for us, dog?
Oh, you guys wrapping up already? Did I catch you in time?
Look at Tim in here making us feel bad. Damn, you in the stream already? What's wrong?
He's got the shades on. We should start calling him Tim Cruise.
You guys like the view?
I like it.
Beautiful.
That's
dude.
awesome.
Got the Don Hudson Center back there. Turn it around, Tim. Turn that camera around for us.
Here, we'll do it.
What's on the other side there, sir?
I'm standing here right by the Oneida Gate on the steps.
Look at that.
Let me see if I can. I can't really flip it around. My camera's acting goofy, but if you look over my shoulder, you can see where the players are about to come in.
Oh, gotcha.
I'm like right above it,
This is setting up, Tim. There was a listener earlier, a live viewer said, "Yeah, we want the live view of Tim getting the crap kicked out of him by security." So
they're down there. They're down there. I'm up here.
There you go. Take the
Hey,
high
guys.
ground, Tim. Got to have the
Guys.
high ground.
Don't tell anyone. I got a daddy soda in my hand too.
Ooh. Ooh.
Sinner.
It's a beautiful day. So what did I miss? Were there any fights at practice or what? What's going on?
No, it was a great day, man. Great day.
You know what, man? I think it was a little reverse psychology. They said, let's let the Ravens ride the kids' bikes, just to make sure there wasn't a fight. You know what I mean?
That's right. Soften them up a little bit before practice. I love it.
Tim, Carlson, 5 for 5 today, bro. We've been telling you the whole time.
Yeah, you've
Tim,
been telling me, huh?
You got to stop sleeping on Carlson, Tim. He's going to kill me.
That's for sure, guys.
Anything you want to add? We're going to end the stream right now, bro. Anything else you'd like to add before we wrap up? You get the floor.
No, guys, I'll see you tonight, man.
All right.
7 Central.
Yes, sir, man. Be safe.
I'm going to go see if I can go talk to Brenton Cox Jr. for Jacob. I'll be sure to send some love to your favorite player.
Dude, I swear to God, if you can get him to give me a shout out, I will. Oh.
Jacob, easy. Goodness gracious.
You heard it from a fan right here.
Oh, fine. All right. Have a good one, Tim. Appreciate you, buddy.
All right, guys. See you tonight.
All right, guys. That's it. We're out. We'll see y'all tonight, 7 p.m. Central Time for PTA Live. Appreciate everybody hanging out with us. Hit that like button on the way out. You guys and gals are awesome. For those of you listening on the pod, thank you for making us a part of your day. As always, let's go out and be the change we want to see in the world. Go Pack, go.